Coming up on Focal Point. It has been 1 month since MSU suspended in-person classes. President Samuel Stanley outlines his plans in a candid interview.
People will have to expect that there will be some budget reductions.
Endure from year to year.
The year was also cut short for high schoolers, but students are still trying to make memories.
Senior year prom, it's what all or most seniors look forward to.
In the midst of a public health crisis, people are finding new ways to stay safe.
Coming up, I'll show you how a Grand Rapids distillery is helping with the hand sanitizer shortage.
One family finds a creative way to celebrate their daughter's birthday.
You'll hear how an 11-year-old girl got a big surprise when she looked out her window and saw something special on her front lawn.
While another family is just happy to be healthy and together.
It can happen to anyone, and it did to this family in Woodhaven, Michigan. I have that story coming up.
Focal Point starts now.
Hello and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Katie Barecki. We've all come to expect our streets to look like this. Completely deserted. All face-to-face communication is now screen to screen. And that's how Michigan State President Samuel Stanley and I talked about the current situation through a Zoom meeting. We sat down together virtually and discussed this last month and what the future may look like. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This isn't how President Stanley wanted his first year to end.
All of us miss being together, and that's very tough.
But the COVID-19 pandemic has changed everyone's life, including his.
My wife is in New York right now, and she's kind of on the front lines. She's working at Stony Brook University Hospital in Long Island, so she's actually helping to care for COVID-19 patients.
We all want to get back to normal, but is that even possible? President Stanley faces tough decisions. Do you expect classes to be remote in the fall as well?
I can envision a scenario where we could be having, some people return to campus. Other people might elect to stay and study remotely. Their families, or they might feel it was safer to stay. So there's multiple scenarios open at this point in time.
And then graduation. The president is thinking of a unique possibility. What are the plans right now to honor the graduating class of 2020, as well as, the graduate students and, of course, doctoral students as well?
Right now, I imagine that celebration might take place in an in-person locale in the 2021 graduation. So we would invite the class of 2020 to join us, those who could, and make it kind of a dual celebration in 2021. That's my thinking right now. At the same time, I would like to do something in May for your class as well, maybe from a virtual point of view. So not that I view it as a substitute, but a way to kind of us to mark together our recognition of you and your class, and I think that would be helpful as well.
And the budget for next year.
We haven't talked about it, but with this crisis came a number of reductions in revenue essentially for the university. So as you know, we did refunds for students of room and board. That was about $16 million roughly. So I think I'm having these conversations around the university. They're starting more and more. I've been talking to the deans, talking to the senior leadership of the university. But I think people will have to expect that there will be some budget reductions going forward.
No matter what these changes might be, President Stanley just wants everyone to be safe.
Everybody, I think, wants to come back to campus in the fall. I know I certainly want, to see restrictions lifted. But it's really the virus and the epidemic that's going to dictate where we are at that point in time and what we consider to be safe. It would be.
You can watch my full interview with President Stanley on our YouTube channel, Focal Point MSU. Now, let's take a look at MSU's latest way to help students through this crisis. Michigan State University leaders are working daily to update their response to this crisis. For more information, you can log on to www.msu.edu/coronavirus. Now, over to David Greenberg.
Over the last month, as the country has shut down, the service industry has been hit especially hard. Some restaurants may never open again, and hotels are empty. These are some of the busiest weeks of the year at the Kellogg Hotel and Conference Center, but not this year. I spoke to the rooms division manager there, and he explained to me how they're dealing with it all. A whole lot of emptiness, both inside and out.
It's still an evolving situation.
Bradley Benton graduated Michigan State with a degree in hospitality business. With 15 years of experience in the industry, he's never experienced anything like this.
The hotel, like many other hospitality businesses, has lost a significant amount of business over the last few months, and future business as well.
Future business, like the week of the upcoming spring graduation ceremony, which MSU's President Samuel Stanley postponed to a later date.
We take reservations 365 days in advance. So for graduation, we usually sell our rooms anywhere from 4 to 8 months in advance. For an event like graduation, those rooms do fill up fairly quickly.
But due to the pandemic,
the hotel lost several nights of 100% occupancy, 160 rooms, and then individual celebrations that take place in our stateroom restaurant through families coming up to celebrate with their graduates.
As it stands, the Kellogg Center has not fired any employees, but they do not expect to fully recoup the loss in revenue caused by the coronavirus. Through all the madness, Benton said he's just
waiting for some good news and a little bit of sunshine so we can get back to what we love to do most, and that's host guests.
Benton said the hotel is helping by donating food to the Lansing community and offering discounted rooms to first responders. Focal Point's Luke Saccone knows one of those first responders well. He's in Connecticut with the story.
David, whether in Michigan or here in Ledyard, a small town in southeastern Connecticut, emergencies don't stop just because the rest of the world has stopped. Tony Saccone has a morning routine.
Get up about 5:30, make some coffee, sit down and watch several news stations, and plan my day ahead.
It's the one thing he can count on since everything else has changed.
The COVID-19 virus has completely changed how the emergency services respond to emergencies, medical emergencies in particular.
This has been Tony's home away from home for 20 years. He's been a firefighter for 40, survived Hurricane Sandy and Irene, but he's never seen anything like this.
So it's unusual for a fire chief to tell the volunteers not to come around.
Tony's chief here, managing 22 volunteers and employees.
But we try to encourage, come as needed. We can always use your help.
For the 20 years that Tony has been here at the Gales Ferry Fire Company, it has never been closed to the public.
We try to limit how many people are in the fire trucks. Generally we can hold 6, so we're trying to reduce it to 4.
The company hasn't responded to any confirmed cases.
We have outfitted the trucks with full protective clothing, which is a gown, goggles, and face masks.
No matter what happens, he's always ready for an emergency.
Puts a strain at home, on the family being home together. But more importantly, well, just as important, is here at the firehouse, because we are family here as well.
First responders like my father are continuing to help any way they can. And as Gabby Malta finds, people are finding different ways to help protect communities.
That's right, Luke. Just like your dad, Beer Distillery is making their own hand sanitizer to give back to the community as well.
Big impact on us.
Shortages of hand sanitizer left customers empty-handed.
Obviously, the lockdown, all that went to pretty much zero.
But now, a local business is trying to help.
I started the distillery in 2013.
When Joel Bierling started Beer Distillery, he never thought he'd be in this position.
Looking at some bottles, saw that the main ingredient was alcohol.
Then he knew it was time to shift production.
The main type of alcohol that's used in hand sanitizer is ethyl alcohol or ethanol. which is also the same alcohol we like to drink.
And start making hand sanitizer.
It really kind of is a logical shift.
His new kitchen and Dutch-themed menu
My father was born in the Netherlands.
would have to take a back seat.
Really kind of unfortunate, sort of like buying a house and then not being able to live in your house.
His plan was to include a free bottle with every food order.
But it quickly kind of grew from that because we shifted 100% of our production just to making hand sanitizer.
He is surprised by the demand.
We really have no words to describe how many people are looking for it and paying for it.
Some orders come with a side of appreciation.
We've had literally people come to our takeout window crying.
In one case, an 80-year-old grandmother.
Literally was in tears as he walked up to our takeout window and we gave him some. So, I mean, it's really, really quite moving.
The biggest problem Joel faces today is
that I do not have any labels to put on the bottles, so we're trying to figure that out right now.
But he has plenty of sanitizer to give out.
It's really nice to be able to help out in that way.
Just as Joel and his crew are finding creative ways to help out, so are Spartans. Zaria Phillips shows us how Spartans are using technology to help healthcare workers.
We've all heard the stories, doctors, nurses, and their hospitals running out of personal protection equipment as they treat COVID-19 patients. This is how Spartans are solving a new problem using familiar technology. Doctors and nurses at some Michigan hospitals, especially those in Detroit, have been bearing the brunt of the PPE shortage, putting their personal protection in the hands of do-it-yourself equipment.
Residents are using what amounts to a piece of Tupperware glued to their N95 as an additional face shield.
But this crisis served as an inspiration for local Spartan Nathan Tykoki.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, we can help you with that. So
he collaborated with a team of experts to produce 3D printed face shields.
The Environmental Health and Safety at MSU put out a request to the campus-wide and to the research labs especially, asking for donations of personal protective equipment.
Using a construction design from the Czech Republic, and with the help of researchers from agriculture, arts and letters, engineering, and natural science, they assembled more than 1,500 face shields.
People with home printers are getting involved, and so our capacity is increasing as our community partners come on board.
Tykoki says these face shields are cheap to produce because they're using excess materials they already had.
The plastics that are used for most of these sort of medical grade things in real life are also plastics that we use pretty commonly in 3D printing because they're flexible.
And putting them together is easy as a clip, a snap, and a pull for protection. Volunteers with 3D printers can make these at home, and the university will even deliver the raw materials right to your doorstep.
So we have alumni from all over the state that are printing.
Proving that when Spartans have the will, they'll find a way.
Cool to see everyone come together to make this happen in a truly amazing fashion that you only see at a place like Michigan State.
To get involved with printing or donating equipment, go to MSU's website and search 3D PPE. Right after the break, we'll head to a Detroit suburb where we'll meet Focal Point's Brianna Idzior. She'll show us the amazing story of one family living there. Stay here, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Brianna Idzior. It can happen to any of us. Just ask the family who lives in this house in Woodhaven, Michigan, who have dealt firsthand with the coronavirus. In this Woodhaven, Michigan neighborhood, the Grima family couldn't believe what was happening until it happened to them. Their lives changed in the blink of an eye.
I had a fever for about 8 days before I even went into the emergency room. Finally, though, it got to the point where my breathing was getting really difficult. So that's when I decided to go to the emergency room on the 26th, Thursday night.
Mike will never forget that Thursday night. He knew he had coronavirus.
And they had like a triage tent set up outside where they talked to you, and you had to wait out there until they were ready to put you like inside a room in the hospital itself.
It was really hard, honestly. I took my dad to the hospital on Thursday, and it was hard because I just had to drop him off.
From there, he was transferred to Henry Ford Hospital.
Like, I couldn't even go in with him.
Isabel, who is only 18, suddenly found herself having to run a household.
Yeah, I was the one who was the healthiest, so I kind of had to do everything.
Because her mom, Laura, had the virus too.
I got tested on Tuesday.
Laura didn't have trouble breathing, but instead the pain in her stomach lasted for weeks.
I got dehydrated and I ended up in the emergency room a couple times and just got some fluids.
But if anyone knew she had it, it was her. After all, she is Dr. Laura Grima. The CDC reported over 30,000 deaths last year related to influenza. So what is it about this new virus that terrifies people so much? Well, the answer seems to be that it attacks the lower respiratory system, making it extremely difficult or nearly impossible to breathe.
It got to the point where I was starting to think the worst. It was scary. The doctor thought for sure I was going to end up on a ventilator.
Dr. Grima is on the mend, and Isabel and her brother Dante only showed minor symptoms. And Mike, who took it the hardest, sees light at the end of the tunnel.
I think every day it's been a little bit better for each of us.
A family reunited with a whole new perspective on life.
Just thankful to have a second lease on life, and definitely not going to take it for granted.
While some are at home recovering like the Grima family, others are working from home. Chris Mills tells us how his mom had to adjust to a new way of teaching.
That's right, Bree. While our colleges and universities have been able to shift to online, our public schools have struggled. Empty. Empty schools, empty classrooms, and empty cafeterias. Living rooms are the new classrooms. Like teachers around the country, my mom, Mary Mills, and her assistant Molly are figuring out how to teach at a distance.
It's going to be different, for sure, but it will work.
Rebecca DeHane is the principal at a Saginaw Township Community School, Arrowwood Elementary, and is leading her staff through all of the changes.
Yesterday and today, I have been in. I am checking the temperature of all of my staff members so that they can go into their classrooms and get any of the resources in order to switch over to remote learning.
The plan is to get their students new material online.
Our kindergarten through second grade is going to use Seesaw, which is online learning management system, and then 3 through 5 is going to use, 3 through 5 is my building, but 3 through 12 then is going to use Google Classroom.
Maria Girardi teaches high school in Yale. She's adapting too.
The only thing I've really changed is timelines. I've given kids just more time and flexibility to turn things in.
Districts will have until April 28th to roll out their new plans on how they will be moving forward with the rest of their fourth quarter. High schools and elementary schools might be soon back in session, and as Focal Point's Kaylee Garrison tells us, that's going to be music to everybody's ears.
That's right, Chris. High school ended abruptly this year for students all over the country. For high school seniors, this is a time they can't get back. It's hard to bring the pep.
I want to say it's sad
when your senior year falls flat.
And I try not to think about it just because it is so sad.
Kylie Wilcox is playing her final season of soccer.
I just got on varsity.
She will finish the season and the rest of her senior year at home.
It kind of just sucks, and I'm trying not to do like pity party kind of thing because there is so much going on, but doesn't mean my sadness isn't valid.
When Jackson High School closed its doors on March 16th, it also closed a chapter for high school seniors.
I really do not know how I perceive this.
Final moments like
prom
are postponed or canceled while COVID-19 plays out. Wilcox is also in band. She's played trombone since 5th grade and was excited for the final months of school when students can really take a bow.
In years past, they always have the seniors line up on the stage, and then they sing the alma mater while the band plays it behind them for their last concert. That was just so sad that we weren't going to be able to do that.
You know, you really look forward to that element of the year where in music, you're able to really participate and really have a blast with your friends.
The curtain closed before seniors could sing the alma mater one last time, but Jackson band director Joel Shaner is determined to make it happen eventually.
I've done this once or twice, and I know what it means to kids. I need to move forward as if we can continue and resurrect this and make it a big part of their year and not make it that 2020 void that's being talked about.
And while the school year ended on a low note,
I'm just super thankful for being at Jackson High and just having all the experiences that I did have.
Wilcox is looking forward to celebrating her graduation at some point down the road. The band teacher personally delivered 78 instruments to students on Tuesday. He wants them to start practicing for their final concert. He doesn't know when that'll be, but he wants them to be ready. Now, it's not just senior band students who are missing out. Focal Point's Sam Britton will tell us about an athlete whose final sports season was cut short.
That was a worry for high school athletes, that like everything, their spring season might be canceled. And they were right, Kaylee. Now that the season has been canceled before it began, one senior isn't really sure how to handle it. The stands sit empty.
I've been trying to work out more and stay in shape.
Normally, it's a busy time for high school students.
Even though I don't have a season to stay in shape for.
We all feel ready when it's our turn to bat. But there's not much anyone can do when life throws a curveball.
I never got the chance to step onto the field knowing that I was playing my last game.
Seniors were looking forward to one last season.
I was banking on my spring season.
Like Lily Snyder, she was ready to play her final year of softball at Lake Orion High School.
I just really wanted to have a chance to be able to play one more time, but I understand the circumstances.
She was finally going to have a chance to start.
I had 9 upperclassmen ahead of me, so I had to wait my turn.
I believe that 7 out of the 9 went on to play college ball.
13 years. That's how long Lily played softball. That's also how long her parents watched her throw, hit, steal, and run.
We were looking forward to being able to watch her do all of those special moments, senior night and the different things that they get to do for the girls.
She feels like she struck out, even though she never got to swing the bat.
Initially, I was pretty upset. It was not my best day for me.
I knew that was going to be hard for her to miss her last season.
But life goes on. Lily still has plenty of memories to look back on, like beating the #1 team in the state.
We ended up prevailing and we beat them in the end, and it was just a huge rush. We all just were so excited.
Her time with high school softball is over, but college is next, and she's excited to become a Michigan State Spartan this fall.
I'm planning on going into a pre-medical major, so I really want to focus on my academics and stay fully indulged in that.
For some high school athletes, this was their last chance at getting an offer to play for a college. Lily had no plans to play beyond this year. Now over to Michaela Temple on yet another thing seniors are missing out on.
Besides walking across the stage at graduation, it's one of the most special nights for high schoolers. It's where they get dressed up and get to spend one last night with the friends they grew up with. Of course, it's prom, but now it's canceled. And this bridal and prom store is determined to make sure that special night still happens for seniors eventually. For high school seniors, this time of the year is usually special.
I wanted to have that memory from my senior year and be able to spend that time with them and make those memories before we take our next steps in our journeys.
And graduation isn't the only thing on their minds.
Senior year prom, it's what all or most seniors look forward to.
And the front lawn is as far as it gets for high school seniors Olivia Powell and Samantha Usher.
My heart broke.
With prom being canceled.
I was devastated.
Like most seniors, Olivia and Samantha already bought their dresses.
It is a strapless gown, floor length. It is a royal blue.
But now they might never get the chance to wear them to the dance. Unless...
And we want to just keep the happiness going.
Sarah Sampson gets her way.
We wanted to make sure that we're able to provide
something, especially for our seniors.
She runs Pierre's Bridal Prom and Tuxedo and is determined to make that happen.
We want to give back, and we want to find a way to give everybody that prom.
By partnering with local businesses, Sarah and Pierre's have a plan.
Prom will happen.
To hold a special prom somewhere, sometime.
Whether that is, on your scheduled prom time, the end of May, or June, July, August, even September, you'll be able to experience that prom that you deserve.
While the store is temporarily shut down, Pierre's took garment bags similar to this one and made something useful out of them. Like these.
Out that they are made out of polypropylene, the same material that is used for medical masks.
Even though they're not selling dresses, they're still staying busy.
So far, we've had over 3,000 masks made that have been donated to Sparrow and McLaren Hospital here in Lansing, as well as hospitals in Metro Detroit and nursing homes.
Who would have thought there'd be a silver lining in those unworn dresses? Or at least those pink garment bags they come in. Pierre's does not have a set date for the makeup prom yet, but they say they'll post updates on their social media pages. While this shop is figuring out a way to honor seniors, one man is figuring out a way to honor kids of all ages on their special day. Hikaru Kudo has that story.
That's right, Michaela. What do you do when your birthday happens in the middle of a quarantine? Well, one family in Canton Township decided to use their yard to spread some joy in this week's Focal Point Friday finale.
Yard signs. They usually promote a house for sale, a business, or a candidate.
But what if I told you that these could help celebrate someone's birthday?
What do we do? I think I have like a old garage sale sign. Maybe I'll just throw that in our yard.
Debbie and Steve Monty had a dilemma. Their daughter Emily's 11th birthday was coming up, and they needed a creative way to celebrate while dealing with the COVID-19 quarantine.
Then the light bulb went off. And I'm like, yard signs. Oh my God, those yard sign companies who put all those big flamingos or advertisement in the yard, we're going to call one.
So the day before Emily's birthday, they called KBE Yard Designs.
Since we live on a main road, I want it to say honk. Big letters, H-O-N-K, honk. She's going to hear cars honking.
So first thing when I got up, my parents pulled up my blinds, and I didn't really notice it at first. But when my dog started barking out my window, I actually looked, and I was kind of shocked. At first, I didn't know how to acknowledge it.
But she quickly figured it out.
A lot of people were honking, and it just made me smile so much because I felt it was the best birthday ever, even though we're quarantined.
That caught the whole family off guard.
They pulled up there with the big smiles. We're all smiling back at them, and we're looking at them like, is this who you know, these people?
Two girls they didn't know just wanted to drop off something special.
It said from Bree and Alexis, and they wrote happy birthday, stay safe, and put a heart on it. And inside was a puzzle, a 200-piece puzzle with a retriever on it.
It made me feel special that other people were actually acknowledging my birthday, and that took the time to actually honk.
For Brian Rhodes, who owns KBE Yard Designs,
you finally understand the joy that you end up bringing to people's house, and you're broke up into the monotony a little bit. So it was really cool. I had to call my wife, and I was tearing up, and I just kind of had to sit there and compose myself until I went to the next place.
This bad situation turned into a really good thing. We played outside, and people honked and waved. It was just really fun.
the Montys were just happy they could make the day a special one for Emily.
Exceptional.
Wonderful.
Uplifting.
In addition to the puzzle, Emily also received Amazon gift cards and Beanie Babies from others. As for KBE Yard Designs, Brian tells me he's setting up 6 to 8 greetings per night. To wrap up today's show, we'll send it back over to Katie Barecki in Canton.
From those cheerful yard signs back here to these empty streets, we don't know how long this will be our new normal. Even though this is our last show of the semester, we'll be back in the fall to bring you the news you need. I'm Katie Barecki. For all of us here at Focal Point, thank you for watching and stay safe.